guys? It's John and National Sports Entertainment, and I figured it'd be a good time to drop our NFL Week 16 picks. Obviously, we got a Thursday game coming up, and then Saturdays, so the week's moving a bit quicker towards the end of the year. And as you know, Saturday is always crazy for college basketball, so Friday, Saturday is going to be pretty busy as far as getting all those picks out, and Thursday's the day before, so I figured we'd knock out the picks today. I try and get them done on Tuesday on Wednesday because I like seeing where they open for one, because then it's going to give me time. Like, you could always lock them in, and if something crazy happened, do double amount on the other end. You get juiced a little bit, but I like seeing the opening lines and then seeing what changes. And another thing you can do is a lot of people will just wait until the closing lines, but they'll use my picks. I again, the spread I put out now is going to have changed by the time we get to Sunday, of course, Thursday, Saturday, whatever game. And sometimes it benefits us, sometimes it doesn't, but either way, a lot of these are narratives, metrics. So right off the bat, we got Saints-Rams. And this one, it's a very interesting one where I really don't want to play either team because they both make so much sense. Like, either one makes sense. I think the Rams should win this game, probably not cover though. And I'll go into, the notes we have where I have exactly what we're playing. But to be to the point, the over is the only thing I like about this game. Both teams aren't too good on the over, and it's set moderately, not high, but it's set moderately higher than I think it should be, mildly higher than it should be. Again, if I absolutely had to, it's not an official play, just so you know. I'm not putting any units on it, but I would pick the Rams for the cover. I just have them making the playoffs. Again, the Saints, they don't need this win. They can be 8-9 and win the division. I don't think they're going to, but I like the over here. And like I said, if I had to, Rams to cover. Here I do like the Steelers for the cover. Getting 2.5 is really nice. And I think I might have wrote minus 2.5 for Pittsburgh, thinking we were given 2.5. Either way, I'll take the 2.5. This could definitely be a very close game. Kind of looks like it could be a trap. I just think people aren't sold on Pittsburgh. I think making them both 8 and 7 makes sense. I don't have the Bengals in the playoffs, so I don't think we're going to have a backup getting in there. We might have like 1 or 2 total, but I think we're actually, according to my predictions, we're only going to have 1 backup in the playoffs, and that's going to be Flacco. But I guess they could return Burrow or do something. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Tomlin's going to have a losing season, and I think it just makes the most sense for everybody in the conference for the Steelers to drop the Bengals to 8 and 7. So I got the Steelers here for the cover. Of course, you could take them to win. It's really whatever you want. Bills Chargers. This one's an interesting one. I like the Chargers for the cover, and I also like the Chargers to win. So whether you want to split it up, 50-50, I'm personally doing a unit on each. My logic is the Bills have been rolling through teams, and the Chargers have been doing terrible. And I don't think people that are betting are going to think, oh, they really want to push more for his first game. Because, again, we know it's scripted, but most people don't. So I think most people are going to say, well, they suck. They don't have their starting quarterback. They don't have receivers. They got a new coach. And the Bills are rolling through everybody. I think most people are just going to take the Bills here. A couple weeks ago, this 10.5 would be a lot of points. But right now, I don't think it is. I think it makes sense. So, if anything, it might be a little bit light. So, I think the public will still be on Buffalo here. I like the Chargers to cover. And again, I also like a unit on them to win. Getting about 5-1. Really good odds, and I think they can get it done. Browns-Texans. I like the Texans for the cover. Same logic as Bengals-Steelers. I think it's going to be all these teams in the hunt going into like the final week. I really have the Texans getting in there. The line's a bit trappish. The Browns defense has been playing lights out, so the Texans just barely beat the Titans. I get they didn't have Stroud. Even still, I think more people should be on the Browns here. I like the Texans, and again, more because I have them getting in the playoffs. Commanders-Jets. I like the Commanders to win. Jets are officially eliminated. There's not going to be any kind of Rodgers return. No Shane Falco return for him. But what we might get is the Jets tank, lose out, and then wind up getting maybe Marvin Harrison, maybe getting a top 5 pick. I think that could certainly happen. So I'm looking at draft picks for a lot of these too. For a lot of these teams, I'm looking at draft picks. As you know, I think Caleb's going to the Patriots. I said that just for the people that might be new. But I mean, most of you guys on here obviously aren't new. You've known me from the beginning. But I like the Patriots to get Caleb, and I've liked them since they were like, I don't know, they weren't terrible. They were like 2-4. There was the Bears doing worse than them. The Panthers still are. The Cardinals were doing worse than them. And I just had a feeling that Belichick was going to get Caleb because they kept talking about getting rid of Belichick. Clearly, they're not going to this year. I think they're going to get Caleb. And on that note, I think the Jets are going to get somebody nice too. So I like the Commanders here for the win. Make them both 5-10. Seahawks Titans here. Another interesting one. Because again, the Seahawks win. They're in the hunt. They're doing well. They'll be fine. But I think after that performance against the Eagles with a backup, I think people are going to be all on Seattle, not on Tennessee. Nobody's believing in Tennessee. And while it's not really doing much for the playoff picture, I think it makes more sense for the NFC side for the Seahawks to lose this game. So I like the Titans here. Falcons is my favorite play. I like them to win. Again, a nice little palindrome. Or just take them to -1. I mean, if you don't feel like giving up the juice. 8-7, 7-8. Nice little palindrome. It's just, in my opinion, the best play. I think the Falcons are going to win the division. I don't think the Colts are going to make the playoffs. From almost every perspective, for booking purposes, it makes sense that the Falcons would win this game. They just lost to the Panthers. You're not going to have too much public on them. So I love the Falcons here. Packers, Panthers. Now this one, I like the Panthers to win the game. I think they're going to get a couple wins towards the end of the year. Again, my logic being the Patriots are going to get... I think they're going to get the worst pick in the draft. Just because... Again, I really think our best pick, I should say, just because of the Caleb angle. It would make no sense for the Bears to get that pick. Sure, Caleb could stay behind, I get that. But who are the Bears going to draft? May? They're keeping Fields. Right now, they got the Patriots getting May with the second pick. So it's a really interesting dynamic. I just think it makes much more sense. And, you're looking at like -180 on the Packers. That's pretty appealing for a parlay. So I love the Panthers here to get this win. Straight up. Packers, of course they lose, they're eliminated, and I think I might have had them as one of the teams, I can't remember, but it's just a deal. I believe in the Rams way more than the Packers, if I'm being honest, and while it would make sense to keep them in it, I just feel like this would be a perfect opportunity for the Panthers to even up with the Patriots. Lions, Vikings, now this one, you might say, oh, it makes so much more sense for the Vikings to win. It really doesn't. They're not going to win the division. It's going to be a wild card race. And if you look at the other wild card teams, especially because I have the Packers losing, the Seahawks, I have them losing, going to 7-8. I think the Vikings losing makes more sense. They'll be right in line with all these other teams that are very close. Even the teams that seem like they're out of it, a game behind, might be able to go on a run and get in. So I think the Vikings losing makes more sense than winning. So it's kind of trappish, 3 points, but the Vikings have been looking pretty good as of late. So I'm going to take the Lions here for the cover. Jags, Bucks. Here's another one where it does seem like a trap, I'm not going to lie. Only 1 point. At the same time, the Bucks have been looking pretty good. And if the Jags lose, it makes it where... Again, some of these teams, the Colts will, have a shot. The Texans, it'll be a nice division race. So, personally, I like the Bucks to win. And the tiebreaker is, I know this sounds goofy, but WWE is based out of Tampa. Well, they're based out of Concord, Connecticut, but their facilities are all out of Tampa. The Jaguars are based out of Jacksonville. AEW, I'm sorry, is based out of Jacksonville. And WWE, obviously, is pummeling AEW right now. So I think it's going to cross over to the NFL where the Bucks are going to go ahead and beat the Jags. So I like the Bucks. Here I like the Cardinals. I like them to win. Same logic as the Patriots losing, and same logic as the Panthers winning. It just makes it where, again, I don't think the Cardinals are going to get the first pick. Caleb's dad came out and said, I hope my son doesn't go there. Look what happened to Kyler. I don't think they're going to do that. I think we're going to have a pretty good team, comparatively, get that first overall pick so they can talk about the importance of having a good coach, all these different things. So I like the Cardinals for the win here. Cowboys, Dolphins. Here's another interesting one. I'm going to roll with the Cowboys because of they just got beat pretty bad for one. And I notice a lot of times when a team loses to a team in a division, the next week they'll beat another team in the same division. It's like a full circle kind of triangle type of thing. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It happens a lot. So I think the Cowboys are going to get it. Not to mention, they keep pushing this narrative. They push it with both of these teams, actually, but they push it more with the Dolphins, that they can't really beat good teams. They're just beating down bad teams, eking out wins against good teams. They just beat the Jets. Whereas the Cowboys, they've beaten some good teams at least. At least they destroyed the Eagles. So I like the Cowboys with the narrative. Now this last one's an interesting one because I like the Patriots to cover the spread because I think they're the worst team in the NFL covering, and to me this screams win no cover. Obviously I like the Broncos to win because A, it'll keep them in that playoff picture, and B, the Patriots would then they'd be tied with the Panthers for the worst record in the league. So I think it's going to be a win no cover. I like the Patriots for the cover, but I think the Broncos are going to win the game. If there's any change, I'll definitely do an update, but it just seems to me like we're going to get a win no cover. I thought we were going to get that against Kansas City. They didn't quite pull it off. I think they lost by 10. They were getting 8. But here, I think they're going to get the cover, but probably not win the game. That's just the sequence that I think makes the most sense. So here's all of the unit amounts, and I think I might have missed an over. The Bills Chargers, okay. So we got the Saints Rams over, like I said. 44.5 is pretty high for these two teams who haven't gone over too much, so I like that as a leg 2 for 2 units. Again, we're going to have games leading up to this, so right now we don't have many open sequences, but I'm sure we will by the time this. That's why I don't have a bunch of leg 3s, because we don't have any really. I think we have like 2 open leg 2s total, and we got some in action today, so there's no reason to rush them. If a certain game looks appealing, then of course I will add to it, but for now we're just going to keep them. And yeah, we're getting 2.5 here. It seems kind of trappish, I get it, but I'm going with the narrative. So anyway, Steelers, Bengals, I like the Steelers for the cover. Like I said, that's going to be 2 units. Bills, Chargers is another over I like because of Moore now, the offensive coordinator. I think we're going to see a pretty high scoring game. So, and they haven't gone over much. So I like that for 2 units. 1 unit each on the cover and on the straight up win. So obviously we want the win, but the cover would be fine. That's moving. It was at 10.5 a second ago. It was at 11 when I first checked, so that might move back and forth. It might move to 10. So maybe get in early on this one before it moves to 9.5 would be my advice, because that's what I noticed. It's like the stock market. I feel like they open the lines for their sharp friends, for their whale friends, and then they wind up moving. So by the end, when Joe Public gets in on it, because a lot of books won't even offer the lines until like Wednesday-ish. It's already a point or 2 off, so it's probably going to continue moving, probably to 10, maybe even to 9. So I would get this one in early, personally. Then the win I like. Texans, again, I like them to cover the Browns. That's going to be for 2 units. I like that play a lot. I like the Commanders a good bit. Just 1 unit for the upset. Seahawks, Titans, again, 2 teams that don't typically go over too much, so to me it would make sense that they do here. Thought about making it a leg 2, but we have a good bit of leg 2, so it'll be a leg 1 for 1 unit. Again, my favorite play. I just think this game makes the most sense. This is my quote lock if I were to pick one. We've been doing pretty good with our leg 3s in the NFL and in general lately. I think because a lot of them just make much more sense. So it's basically a pick 'em. I love the Falcons. Panthers, I like them to win. That's going to be a leg 2. which will be nice because that'll be a nice little net. It'll net us more than 1.9. It'll net us closer to like 2.5 if we get this. So that'll be really nice if the Panthers get the win. We just got a leg 3 win with them at plus 140, which netted us about 2 units on the sequence. And again, there was about 6 units in total. So getting the plus odds as a leg 2, leg 3 definitely helped. The rest are all leg 1s. Again, I got the Lions doing the cover. Got the Cards with the win here. The Bucks win. I think they're getting a point, so I just took them to win. Cowboys for the reason I went over. That was at a pick'em last I checked. Again, I think might be a point and a half now. Obviously, it's up to you. I'd personally lay that before paying the juice. I don't think it's going to be a 1-point game. But again, it's another one maybe to get in early before it moves to possibly 2.5 or 3. It definitely could happen. And then Patriots Broncos. I think they're going to get the cover, but I don't think that they're going to win. I thought about doing a parlay with the Broncos money line mixed with another money line. Broncos money line, or even like Broncos money line, Seahawks over, something like that. But parlays aren't great for value. But if you'd rather do that, that's fine. I like both plays. The Broncos win, but I like the Patriots cover here. So that's going to be our final play. So that's all of our, like I said, plays for the week. I'll go into the Monday games as again, Sunday gives us a lot of information for Monday. Cowboys will give us some information about the Eagles and Niners, in my opinion. Teams like how the Dolphins do is going to give us information on what the Chiefs and Ravens might do. So a lot of these are going to be very interesting. And then you see San Francisco here as a 5.5-point favorite, so we'll be going into that. Giants, we got a Jersey boy, basically, Philly. So that could be interesting. So a lot of different games here that I think are interesting. Moore, obviously, or Pierce, not Moore. Pierce against a struggling Chiefs team. I could see that upset. So I want to look into the talking heads and all that. And I'll have these 3 picks out in ample time. But I wanted to get out basically our week. And I like to do it, like I said, if I have them any time, Tuesday or Wednesday, I like to get them out. So we have games going on today. I went into them in my last video. And tonight, as always, I'll put out our recap video. And we'll go into all of how we did. Again, yesterday was amazing. I think it was like a 15-unit profit. And it's just playing the metrics. So I'm hoping for the same today. Of course, we're not going to destroy it every single day. But in general, we've been doing really good. And capitalizing on value. So I think we'll have a good day today. I think we'll have a good NFL Week 16. A couple profitable weeks in a row in the NFL. Way more profitable weeks in the NFL than losing weeks. Even on weeks we don't have high hit rates, we find ways to profit. So I think this week will be more of the same as far as profits go. So take care and happy earnings.